All right, we're going to dive in. Recall charges have been filed against Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson, accusing her of failing the city on public safety issues. There was the Bite of Seattle shooting, then the forced resignation of Police Chief Shawn Barnes in the midst of a homicide investigation. So now we have Seattle residents Melinda Jacobson and Dale Osterud who have filed this recall. And they assert really that she's not following the city of Seattle's charter mandate that requires her to enforce city laws and maintain peace. That's kind of the gist of the recall complaint. So Andrea Suarez of WeHeart Seattle, the group that's been out there cleaning up the drug infested parks and streets for the last 5.5 years and trying to connect people with actual programs that will get them off the streets and into rehab. Um, she has been talking about criticisms of the lead program and their creator, Lisa Dugard, for quite some time. She's glad that this Washington Policy Center report came out this week, basically exposing what she's been seeing on the streets in real time, she says, for years. But initially, I asked her about the recall filing with this recall filed against the mayor. And here's what she had to say.
I'm not surprised. There's been a lot of rumors that this was going to happen. And with the gaffes and the lack of leadership and lack of transparency and a motivated couple, here we go.
Yeah, be interesting to see what happens with this. But I'm hearing a lot of actually even proper questions, if you will, a little bit of pressure from some members of the council, even that are on her team, but her on her side, I should say, but that are, like
Well, it
we
was
don't.
really telling. I had an opportunity to be on the seventh floor for one of the press conferences, and none of the council member were flanked behind her when she appointed sales. And that's a big deal. It was very, very obvious that they're sending a message that they're not supporting her decision to have asked Barnes to resign, I guess, is probably the crux of it all, and just lack of, leadership, timing, use of good judgment. I have my own personal speculations, but we'll see how this unfolds.
Now, additionally, the recall charges state that Wilson failed in her duty by turning off or removing those closed circuit cameras. We've spent a great deal of time talking about that in the Stadium District and Little Saigon following the World Cup. You may recall under pressure, she turned those on during World Cup, but as soon as it was over, she wanted those cameras off. And there was an ongoing national discussion about, whether these cameras should be on or off. A lot of folks on the conservative side, don't want Big Brother watching our every move. But at the same time, we know these cameras have helped law enforcement solve some really critical crimes. So it's an ongoing discussion about the cameras. But the recall, here's how it works with the recall it will go to a technical review from the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. They will look at this and say, okay, is there any merit to a recall challenge at this point? And then they would, if they deem there is merit to this, they will write sort of a ballot synopsis. That then goes to King County Superior Court because it's Seattle. So it'll be going to King County Superior Court. And then a judge decides if, in fact, um, what the recall basis is amounts to malfeasance or misfeasance on the part of the mayor. And if, in fact, she violated her oath of office. And then at that point, if the judge decides it should move forward, the signature gathering process begins. And then proponents would have basically 6 months to gather 70,000 signatures from registered Seattle voters, which is equal to 25% of the total votes that were cast in the city's previous mayoral election. That's kind of the threshold for folks. And then, if in fact they get those signatures, that would then trigger a special recall election, which would have to take place 45 to 90 days after the petition is certified. So a lot has to happen. Again, the King County Prosecutor's Office has to decide if it should move forward. Then we've got the King County Superior Court deciding if it should move forward. Then you would get those, supporters for the recall having to gather all those signatures. Going to be some time before this moves forward. But I want to put this response up from the office of Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson that was sent to our state editor, Andrew Paxton, who put up the article initially yesterday after the recall was filed. And they said this: while it does not appear to have merit, our focus remains where it belongs, on making life safer and more affordable for the people of Seattle. Since taking office, we're delivering meaningful progress, expanding community crisis responder hours, launching universal school meals this September, banning rental junk fees, accelerating shelter expansion, expanding transit, investing in our libraries. Voters there just passed a new levy hike there, and taking on unfair pricing at grocery stores. That work continues. The courts will address any questions. We will address the needs of Seattle. So it sounds like at least the take from the mayor's office at this point is they don't expect the recall to end up moving forward, and they're going to press ahead with the work of the city.